Welcome back. I had finished putting these bands together on this shaker box, and today I'm going to go ahead and cut the top part, the top insert and the bottom insert. And I have two that I'm going to use. I have this bottom insert here that'll go in. This is just a piece of pine, but on the top I have two others that I'm going to use. This came from the maple tree that I used to cut these bands with. And I've got this top here. This is spalted. I've got two pieces of it that are really nice. And I'll just have to decide which one to put on the top. But they both look good, and they'll be a finished sanding after I get this assembled. But we'll go through and I'll show you a little bit about that. I had these spreaders in here that I put on the other night to keep this box, to form this box into its oval shape so that it would fit comfortably with everything else. But I'll go ahead and take this out now and show it to you. And it stays in its nice shape. I can take this top band off. And I cut this bottom portion here to fit. And we can set this one in here. But you know, it's just not quite right. I cut this before I ever considered pegging this. So what we're going to have to do is cut another piece. And the way that we'll cut this other piece is we'll go ahead and turn our box. We'll make sure the fingers are facing to our right. It doesn't really matter. They could face to the left if you wanted to, but we'll do ours to the right. And we'll draw this bottom piece. I want to make sure that the grain is going up in this manner. When the grain is like that, then it'll function as it should. It'll go on as it should and give it more strength. So let's go ahead and draw this out. This will be the bottom. And the reason that we draw it out, I could have cut this out. In fact, that's what I did. I cut this one out before I was ready, so I used this on another smaller box. And the reason we cut it after we draw it out, if you'll look, you can see that this bottom that I'm putting in here has a gap on each side, so it doesn't fit snug. So we're going to make this fit snug. Take it over to the bandsaw and we'll cut it out. Okay, when I cut this out, I want to cut it at about a 5-degree angle so that it'll wedge into the band itself. Okay, if you look carefully now, you can see that top is beveled inward about 5 degrees, and we're going to fit it to the box now. As I said, remember that the fingers go to the right so that it will be, you could do it to the left, I guess, but I have this one set up to where I go to the right and the bottom is here. So let's see if we can slip this bottom in. It's a real tight fit. And what we have to do, if it's that tight, it's where it comes into custom fitting. We're going to take it over to the to the belt sander and see if we can make this fit. Hold on. To where it's a 5-degree angle on there, and this is how we will come in and start doing this. I want to start on the end because I seen where it was a little bit long, so let's get started. Okay, I've sanded the bottom now, and I'll fit it in, and the way I fit this in is to go from the top. I'll go from the top, and remember that the bevel will come to the inside of the box, not the outside. So what I'll do is I'll press it in here, and I'll tap it down a little at a time. That didn't work. Okay, I'll show you how I press fit this into the bottom, and it'll fit really snug around the whole end. You can set one end in to begin with, and then start pushing down, making sure that the band is flush on the table, and it will slide in there really good. You can get it squared up all the way around. Adjust it where you need to. And as you can see, the bottom is in firm all the way around the edge. It's a nice fit. All right, we'll work on the top band now. Okay, what I'll do is I'll draw the inside of this band. You don't want to compress this band. Remember, you've already got it set to fit the top up there. So you want to do as little work as possible on refitting this. So we'll draw this around. And there's our shape. We'll go ahead and take it to the bandsaw and cut it out. Thought I'd spare you the agony of watching me cut this out on the bandsaw, but I'm going to do a little bit of sanding on this by hand to give it a little bit better form. Some smoothness on the edge and the nose. Clean up all the little fur babies that are on this thing. Sand the inside. This part will be the inside of the box, and it won't show as much, so you don't have to be quite as meticulous about that unless you are a perfectionist, and that's what you would like to do. That's great. spend more time on it. You got to remember, take pride in what you do, because it shows. Sand a little on the outside, get these saw marks off. We're going to come back a little bit later and sand it out on a belt sander, and that'll take the rest of these saw blade marks. If you remember, I cut this top with my bandsaw mill, my Woodland Mills HM126. You can go back and look at one of the other videos on the playlist and see that. But I wanted to show you this top. Just look at that figure in that. The bottom of it, the top of it. It's a gorgeous piece of wood. Remember, the band always goes to the right. Now, in this instance, you're not going to make it down on the bottom of this. You're going to make it on the top. So remember, your bevel will come down this time from the top. Let's go ahead and press it in. Make sure that that bevel is set where you need it. This one is going to be a little bit more difficult, so we might have to do some more sanding. To get it to fit properly. And we have it in. It's a snug fit all the way around, and it's looking really good. Just to check to see the fit on the box, it's probably going to be real snug, and that's the way you really want one, is to be snug. And look at that. It is nice, and it is snug. Okay. There you have a shaker box almost complete. We'll come back on the next video and I'll show you how I pegged the top with toothpicks. These toothpicks will go in the sides to hold the bands and the tops, the lids, the bottom and the top together. And if you'll notice on these that there is no glue or anything to hold them in this compression fit. It's cold outside. It's supposed to be in the 20s tonight, so for Mississippi, that's cold. Anyway, thought I'd come in and get started this morning on putting these bands together, finish these bands, and go ahead and peg them with the toothpicks so that they'll stay together. And show you how I'm doing these. I'll be drilling holes throughout and around the band back here in which to place the toothpicks in to secure this bottom in here. So hang on as we get started with that. All right, I have the drill press set up and I'm doing one hole on each side to put the toothpick in. Anyway, we want to come in about 1/16 of an inch and drill the hole down into the bottom. All right, I think those ought to be far enough in. I'll show you what we do with them now. I'll cut that very point off, then I'll cut back about 1 inch. And I'll put this into the box and tap it home. You can tell when it goes to the bottom, it will stop going any further, but that's what we'll do to that. Do the same thing. You can tell when it reaches bottom, it'll either break off or it'll make a different sound there. And we'll do this other side. I'll clip the point off. Don't need the point. And we'll drive that one home. We'll clip that one off. Be sure I'll clip that edge, that point off. Clip back about 1 inch. And I'll drive this one home. And hear the sound that it made. That has our pegs in, and so we're good to go on that. That's the bottom, so. All right, let's do the top band. This one's going to be a little bit more difficult. We're going to have to fit this one a little bit more. And the first thing I want to do though is sand these stains off on the inside as best I can. Okay, I have the top pressed in now, and it's ready to be drilled and pegged. Now I'll peg this one. I just got through drilling it. So let me go ahead and clip this little end off of that toothpick. Now put that into the hole that I just drilled. You can tell the difference as soon as it hits the bottom. It makes a different sound. So, okay, I've got one on the other side, and I'll drill it. I've drilled it, and now I'll clip the edge off, and about 1 inch back. And I'll drive this peg home. Go drill a couple of more holes and I'll get this box finished. All right, here you have it. I finished pegging it. I've sanded down the little feathered edges all the way around, and it's ready to put some finish on. I think we'll put some tung oil on it. But to show you about how they fit, a shaker box should be a nice fit so that it doesn't just, you hear how it vacuums there, and then it comes right off. but it's a pretty box. It's a functional box, good for your keepsakes or whatever. But the grain is pretty on there. And keep in mind this is maple that I cut off of my bandsaw mill, my HM126 bandsaw mill, and I cut it to the thinness. If you see the thinness on here, this was done on that bandsaw mill, and that's about a 1/16 of an inch, and that's about as small as you can go on that mill, but it works out great. I love it. I love the mill, and if you're considering a bandsaw mill for hobby or money, that's the way to go. Thank you for watching. I'm going to go ahead and finish this with tung oil. Tung oil is easy to use and it works great and it'll protect the outside of the wood. I'm not going to put anything on the inside. If I do, I'll put in a beeswax or something like that. But, I'm going to go ahead and finish this and let you see it. And what I do is I'll pour a little bit on and I'll rub it in. It gives it a light color there and brings out some of the wood tones that are in here, but it looks good. Oh, look what it does to the maple. It brings out the color in it. Putting it on the bands. It really brings out the grain. All of this wood on this box is sourced off of my property. And that's what the Shakers did. They used what they had around them. And up in Massachusetts and Kentucky and Ohio, what they had was maple. Generally, it was maple wood, so that's what they would use. I used maple because that's what I had. I have maple on my property, and I used it. But there you have it. One nice number 3 Shaker oval boxes. And I think it looks gorgeous. I think now I'm going to brand it and let it go. Thank you.